Hello Divination and welcome. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create a scrolling fashion catalog with Divi. Let's get started. So we're going to start off our tutorial in Photoshop. So what we need to do here is to prepare this image so that we have a transparent part of this image in order for us to complete our design. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drag this lock icon into the bin like that, and then add a new layer. So I'm going to click this plus button here to add my new layer. And then I'm going to come to the polygonal lasso tool. So I'm going to click and press down and then select it here. It's the second one. Okay, so now with that selected, what I need to do is to just draw my shape. So in fact, before I draw my shape, I just need to drag this layer to the bottom. So we have this jeans layer on the top of the transparent one. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's draw our shape. Right, so I'm just going to click once. So this is the part that I need cut off. I'm going to click like that until I have my shape like this. And then next, I'm just going to press delete. So now that I've deleted this area, you can see that this transparency is now showing. This selection is selected. So to deselect it, I'm just going to press Command D or Control D if you're on a PC. Okay, so pretty much our design is done. Next, I need to export this as a PNG. So I'm going to use a shortcut to save my image. So I'm going to press Shift Alt Command S. If you're on a PC, it's Shift Alt Control S. Right, so we can see here in the image as I drag around that this area is going to be transparent. Now that is because my preset here is set to PNG 24. Normally it's set to JPEG like that. And when it's set to JPEG, you won't be able to get the effect that we're looking for because this will be saved as a white space. So I'm just going to come back over here and save this as PNG 24. Click on save, and this gets saved now to a folder on your computer. So for your other images, all you have to do is to follow the same steps in order for you to create this transparency part. Okay, now it's time for us to go into Divi and complete our design. Okay, so I'm here now in WordPress. So what I'm going to do is to start off by creating a brand new page. Now we can call this page whatever we want. It doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to call mine Fashion 1. Click on Use the Divi Builder. Use Divi Builder. Right, so I'm going to come over here and add a one column row. So I'm going to click this plus button here, add my column. So I'm not going to add my module yet. So next I'm going to come over here to the top right and access my section settings. Click on background and let's add our background color. So I'm going to paste in my background color like that. And then I'm going to come over here to design, click on spacing, and here we're going to add some padding. So padding top, I'm going to add 24, and padding bottom, we're going to add 0 to that. And then let's go ahead and save. So we want our design to cover the whole screen. So in order for us to do that, we need to come over here to the row and click our row settings, click on design, sizing, and we're going to make this full width. So that means it's going to span across the whole width of the page. Next, we're going to come over here to use gutter width and we're going to set this to 1. Finally, we're going to come over here to the spacing and add 0 to the custom padding and save. So next, we're going to add our text module. So I'm going to click this plus button here, search for my text module, select it. So for our text, I'm going to call this October edition, like that. Click on design. So I'm going to come over here to my text. We're going to make sure that this is going to be all uppercase. And my font here is going to be old standard. So I'm going to select it like that. Increase our text size to about 72. Now, because this text is way too big, it's not going to look right on our mobile devices, so we might as well go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to click this little mobile device icon, click on tablet, and we're going to change this to about, say, 41 or even 42. Come over here to the smartphone, set this to 29, like that. So for our text orientation here, we're going to center this. And then we're going to come over here to our later spacing and set this to, let's say, 11, like that. And then for our line height, I'm going to set this to 1 EM. Next, I'm going to come over here to the spacing. I'm going to add my custom margin to the top of 30 and 30 to the bottom, like that. And then save. So now we can see that our background color has been applied, and also this row is spanning across the whole width. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to add a divider. So I'm going to come over here to my wireframe view, click this plus button here to add my divider module. I'm going to search for it first. Select it. We're going to click on show divider. Click on design and make sure that this is set to white. Next, we're going to come over here to sizing, set our divider weight to 10. Our height is fine at 23. Okay, so let's go ahead and save. And then next we're going to add another text module. So I'm going to come back over here to my wireframe view, click this plus button here, search for my text module, select it. And then here I'm just going to add this down arrow like that. Click on design, text, and we're going to set our size to 42. Like that. So right now we can't see it because it's right here on the edge. So let's center it. So I'm going to come over here and center it. So now we can see it's all centered. So I'm going to click on text color and set that to black. So now let's go ahead and save. Next, we need to add another standard section. So I'm going to come over here, click this plus button, select regular section. And in this section, we are going to have 2 rows. So I'm going to select my 2 rows. So I'm going to close this for now, come over here to my section settings, click on background, and we're going to add a white background like that. Next, we're going to come over here to design, click on spacing, and add custom padding of 15 to the top. So now I'm going to go ahead and save. And here in our rows, in fact, I need to change these because it needs to be 2/3 to 1/3. So let me come over here to my change column structure, select 2/3 to 1/3 like that. Click on my row settings, click on background. So what I'm going to do here is to add a background, but this background is going to have some transparency. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste my information here within the brackets like that. Now it's time to add our background image. So I'm going to come over here to this 3rd tab, click the plus button to add our background image. So the image I'm going to add is already in my media library. So I'm going to come over here and click it and then click on upload an image. So we can see here that our image is now added onto our row. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is to come over here to image blend and select hue. So that hue gives this image this washed out look. Next, we're going to save. Now we want this row to stretch across our screen. So we're going to come over here to row settings, click on design, sizing. We're going to make this full width, and we're also going to change our gutter width. In fact, we're going to change this to 1. So now we can see that our image is stretching right across our width. Okay, so for now I'm going to go ahead and save. And then we're going to come over here and add our first text module. So I'm going to search for my text module, select it. And then here our text is going to be 01. Click on design, text. And I'm going to search for my font, and my font is going to be called Bitter. So here it is. I'm going to select it. And now it's time to adjust our text size. So we're going to set this to about 63. And our text color is going to be black. And we're going to center it. Click save. And our next module now is going to be a divider. So I'm going to click this plus button to add our module. I'm going to search for it. And as you can see, it makes my workflow much easier because as soon as I know which module I need to use, I just search for it and then it just comes up. It saves me scrolling up and down to locate my module. So I'm going to select it here. Click on show divider. Click on design, color, and we're going to make sure that this is set to black. Next, we're going to come over here to sizing, set our font weight to 3. 23 is fine for the height. And for our width, we're going to set this to about 57. Like that. And then we're going to align this to the left. Lastly, we need to come over here to our spacing and add our top margin and bottom margin, because as you can see here, this line is cutting across our text. So ideally, we need to add some breathing space between these two elements. So for the top, I'm going to add 30, and for the bottom, I'm going to add 50, like that. And let's go ahead and save. Now it's time to add our second text module. So I'm going to come over here, click this plus button, search for my text module, select it. Let's add our text, and our text is going to be jeans by all means. Come over here to background. So initially we're going to add a black background to our text module. Right, next let's go to the design tab, click on the text subcategory. So our font here is going to be bitter. So you can see here it's already selected, and this is one of the new updates that we have in our font update. So all the font that I've used are here by default, which makes it easier for me to select it. So I'm going to select my font. We're going to set this to 92. So we're going to make this really, really large, like that. We're going to change this font color and set it to black. For our line height, we're going to set this to 1 EM. And our text orientation is going to be set to left. Next, we're going to come over here to the border, select border, use border, and we're going to make this border color to be black and border width to 3. Next, let's come over here to our sizing, and let's set our width to about 77 and align this to the left. And then finally, for the custom padding, we're going to come over here to spacing and add 15 to the top, right, bottom, and left. Okay, so now we need our text to show. So let's go back and change our background color. So I'm going to come here and delete my background color like that. I've just noticed that my text is all in small caps. So let's go ahead and change that. So I'm going to come over here to text and make it all caps. And then let's go ahead and save. Okay, so let's go ahead now and add another text module. So I'm going to click this plus button, select my text, and then I'm going to come over here and paste my dummy text, which is the lorem ipsum text. Click on design, set our text color to black, and our font this time is going to be Lato. So I'm going to search for it, and here it is. Set my size to 16. And then we're going to come over here to our line height, set it to 1 EM and left aligned. Okay, so I can see here that my text is a bit too much, so I can always come back here to my text and delete some of it. So let's try and delete this last sentence. Okay, so that's much better. So let's go back to our design, click on sizing and set our width to about 70%. We're going to align this module to the left, and then we're going to click on spacing, and we're going to add a margin of 20, just to give that a bit of breathing space. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and save, and it's time now to add 2 more text modules. So I'm going to click this plus button here, search for my module. So our text here is going to be called read article. I'm going to add this symbol behind it, highlight the text, and make it a link. So I'm going to come over here, click this chain icon. But for the URL, I'm just going to add a blank link for now. Like that. Click OK. Next, I'm going to come over here to the design tab, click on text, and we're going to search for our font, and we're going to use bitter, and the size is going to be 23. Like that. Right, so let's come over here to the text color. Let's set this to black. Our line height, let's set that to 1 EM. And text orientation to the left. Next, we're going to come over here to sizing. Now, we need to make this width about 49%. And we're going to align this to the right, like that. Finally, we're going to come over here to spacing and add a top margin of 80 pixels, because we can see here this was quite close to our paragraph text here. So that's all we need to do. Let's go ahead now and save. So for our next module, it's going to be a text module similar to what we have here. So I'm just going to duplicate this and adjust all my settings. So I'm going to come over here, click on my settings, my module settings. We're going to call this shop now. Next, I'm going to come over here to design, click on my text, and here we're going to change our text color. So I'm going to paste my color in here. Next, we're going to come over here to our sizing. For our width this time, we're going to set this to 39. And we're going to align it to the right. And then finally, I'm going to come over here to my spacing because we can see here that the distance between these two is quite big. So we need to reduce that by removing the custom margin. Perfect. So let's go ahead now and save. Next, it's time now to add our second row. So I'm going to come over here, click this plus button to add our second row. For now, I'm just going to add a single column. Close this, and then I'm going to come over here to my row settings and add my background color. Now, my color here is going to have some transparency, so I am going to add my information within the brackets here for my color, like that. So I'm just going to temporarily save for now, so I can adjust my row. So I'm going to come over here to my column structure, and I'm going to choose 1/3 and 2/3. So it's this one that I need. Okay, so perfect. I'm going to go back into my row settings, click on background. So now I'm going to add my image. So I'm going to click this third tab, click the plus button to add our image, and this is the image that I need. Now, if you don't have your image in your media library, you have to upload it from your computer by clicking this upload files link. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and upload an image. So as before, I'm going to come over here to my background image blend, and I'm going to choose hue. Okay, so for now, I'm going to go ahead and save. So what we're going to do next is we're going to clone all these modules that we've used here because it's going to be a similar layout as we have here on the bottom. So to make it easy for me, I'm going to come over here to my wireframe view, and I am going to clone all these and just add them onto the left here. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the top one here and then just drag it. Move on to the next one. Okay, so I have all my modules cloned. So all I have to do now is to click on my desktop icon to view my complete site. So we can see here that we need some alignments to do, and we also need to make our row to full width. So I'm going to come over here to my row settings, click on design, sizing. We're going to make this full width. We're going to come over here to gutter width and set this to 1. Okay, let's save this for now. So we can see here that our first module is quite close to the edge. So let's go in and add a margin. So I'm going to click on my module settings, click on design, spacing, and I'm going to add 20 to my margin top like that. So that's much better now. Save. Next, I'm going to come over here to my divider module and align it to the right. So I'm going to click on design, sizing, and I'm going to align this to the right. Save. Move on to the next one. I'm going to click this gear icon to access my module settings. I'm going to click on design, click on text. So here we can see our text orientation is set to left. Let's set this to the right, like that. We're going to come over here to our content, click on text, and we're going to change this to shirts for days. Next, we're going to go to design, click on sizing, and we need to align this to the right, like that. Let's save. Next, we need to come over here to our fourth text module, click on the settings like we did before, click on design, click on text. We're going to align this to the right. So I'm going to do it right here. And then I'm going to come over here to sizing and align everything to the right. And then finally, let's change this width to 82% and then save. Now it's time to adjust these right here at the bottom. So I'm going to click my settings icon, click on design, spacing, sizing. We're going to change this to about 82%, like that. Okay, so that's looking fine. I'm going to save, move on to the next one. Click on design, sizing, and we're going to make this 87 like that, and then save. So pretty much that's all we have to do. Now let's take a look at the different views here. So if I come over here on my tablet view, we can see that this doesn't have the desired layout. And if I come over here to the mobile, it's even worse. So what we need to do next is to design the tablet and mobile views. So what I'm going to do, since this does not look nice on our mobile devices, is to disable this on our mobile and tablet views. So we're going to come over here to our section settings, click on advanced, visibility, and disable it for the phone and the tablet. Save. So what we're going to do is to create a brand new section. So I'm going to come over here, click this plus button, and this is going to be a regular section. I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this for now, and then I'm going to come over here to my section settings, add a background color of white. So I'm going to press this plus button, add my white color, click on design, spacing, and we're going to add some padding to the top of 15 pixels like that. So let's go ahead and save, and let's add our columns. So I'm going to come over here, click on my add new row. So we're going to add 2 columns. So for now, I'm going to close this because we need to adjust our settings in our row. So I'm going to click this row settings icon, click on design, sizing. We're going to make this full width. And we're also going to come over here to use custom gutter width, and we're going to set this to 1. Now, by doing this, it means that our design or whatever elements we're going to put into these columns is going to fill the whole screen. And also by adjusting the gutter width to 1, it means that between these 2 columns, there won't be any spaces. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and save. Right, so what we're going to do next is to add our image. So I'm going to come over here, click this plus button, and I'm going to search for my image module, select it, upload my image. So the image I'm going to use here is this one right here. I'm going to select it, upload an image. So now we can see that it's added. So let me go ahead and save. For the text modules, what we're going to do is we are going to clone everything that we have here on the top and add it here on the bottom. So again, I'm going to come over here to my wireframe view so I can visualize everything. So I'm going to start cloning. So just click and drag until you have all the elements right here on this second row. Okay, so now that I've added all of them, I'm going to go ahead now and switch to my desktop view. Right, so when I scroll down, we can see that this is all the information that I've just added. Right, so I'm going to come in here and just adjust my size. So I'm going to click on my module settings, click on design, text, and instead of 92, we're going to reduce this to 65, like that. So I'm going to save for now. And then finally, I'm going to come over here to my section settings, click on advanced. And this time we need to hide this for the desktop. So I'm going to click on desktop. So this is only going to show on my phone and tablet. So I'm going to save this for now. Okay, so now it's time to take a look at our different views now that we've added everything. Right, so I'm going to come over here to my tablet view. So here we can see that these 2 are grayed out because these are not visible on my tablet view. But as we scroll down, this is the one that we've just created. And now it's looking way much better in terms of the layout. So again, if I come over here to my phone view, looks beautiful. So now our design looks perfect both on mobile and desktop views. Okay, so this is our final design.
So there you have it. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and do follow us on our social media platforms. By doing so, you'll be notified every time we release new videos. Until next time, thanks for watching. See you soon.